There it is. It's time. We are live. Thanks very much for being a part of this. And today we get to talk about the Wealth Motivator Paraliminal. Now, I'm going to give you access to a very important secret that has really revealed itself to me in the last couple of years that positions your paraliminal listening so that you can maximize the benefits that you get on an ongoing basis. And I want to use it to help position in your mind why you would listen to a paraliminal like Wealth Motivator. Now, in the previous couple of sessions, I've been talking about fearlessness, and today we're talking about wealth motivation. So let me give you this important concept, and it started way back when I first wrote the book Natural Brilliance and then produced the Natural Brilliance Home Study course. And basically, it's a quadrant model. So I'm going to do this so that you're looking at it. So think about the present on the left side and the future on the right side. Think about positives on the top side and negatives on the bottom side. So this quadrant model usually starts with us having some present negative that we're trying to move away from in order to achieve a future positive. You got that model in mind? So this is the normal trajectory of what we would call self-improvement. That's what got me started in the personal growth industry, is to really look at what are the techniques, the technologies that can help me achieve what it is that I desire to achieve. Knowing that, yeah, there's some things going on right now that I don't like and I want to get away from it and I want to get where I want to go. Well, one of those things that help clarify what this is all about is if you ask some people, so what do you want in your life? And they'll say, well, I'm really trying to get rid of this negative thing that's going on with me right now. But they haven't told you what it is they want. So you say, got it. Sure. But what is it that you desire? And the idea of specifying that future positive that you desire is that vision, that image, that end result that you're going for. Very important to clarify that. And I think more important to clarify that first than it is to say what you don't want anymore. Now, while that trajectory is very key to creating the life that you're choosing, there are two other dimensions that play into people not being able to make progress. One is that they don't want to lose the present positives that they're now experiencing. Also, they don't want to experience any unanticipated future negatives. And so Natural Brilliance says we have to consider those two dimensions just as much as these two dimensions. So where Wealth Motivator, well, let me talk about fearlessness, which we talked about recently. That's moving us away from the present negatives because it's putting us in a place of confidence and strong commitment to create what it is that we desire. So that's an important movement away from the present negatives toward the future positives. There's this relentless knowing that if I take a step away from where I am right now, I'm going to be okay. Now, the future positive is what we're specifying with Wealth Motivator. What we're doing is we're saying, I want to very clearly establish that ideal end result and literally step into that future and experience it from inside my body. See it through my eyes, hear it through my ears, feel the realization of that success being accomplished in that future positive situation. And so what we're doing is we're clarifying with Wealth Motivator the high level of well-being that we're desiring. Now, wealth motivation doesn't necessarily just mean financial wealth. It can be a wealth of positive relationships, a wealth of wonderful health and well-being, right? It could be a wealth of growth opportunities that present themselves for you. And that's what it is that we're saying is the word wealth comes from the same root as well-being. It's W-H-E-A-L. It's that wheel, that wealth, that well-being that we're moving in the direction to accomplish. And once we do that, we're in a position to be able to learn whatever is necessary to get us where we want to go. Have you ever heard the idea that luck is when preparedness meets opportunity? Well, that's the idea here, is we want to be fully prepared to capitalize on any opportunities that may present themselves and get ourselves oriented toward being in the right place at the right time, successfully engage in the right activities to be able to capitalize on those as they present themselves to us. Now, there's another component to this approach to human development. If you could imagine on the left side of you a screen that is the status quo and all the things that you don't want. And on the right side of you, imagine this ideal future that you would love. Now, when you hold both of those in consciousness simultaneously, something else very important happens neurophysiologically. This was written about in a book by Robert Fritz called The Path of Least Resistance. You see, when you hold both images simultaneously, your mind knows, you know what? It's not easier to stay where I am. It's actually easier to engage in whatever activities would be necessary to realize this future, because that's a better way to live my life. And so this path of least resistance begins to establish itself in our neurophysiology. We're literally building the channel for our desires to allow the flow of our energy in the direction of where we're going. Energy flows where attention goes. So when your attention goes to where it is you want to be, as opposed to, you know, I've got this terrible disease and it's really bothering me and I just got to get rid of it and it's terrible, terrible. No, focus on what's it going to be like when you're living your life free, healthy, strong, capable. And that is the image that we want to hold on to. Now, as you do that, your brain, your mind, your neurophysiology says, cool, I can do that. Now, if you imagine being at the side of a hill, turning on a water faucet, a water pump that's letting water out at the top of the hill, that water is going to trickle down that hill, and every time it encounters an obstacle, what's it do? It doesn't stop and dam itself up, and that's it. What it does is it finds a workaround, it finds a way to continue to flow. And the pathway that it finds is defined as the path of least resistance. Water will always flow along the path of least resistance. So will your energy. And so what's important is that you're continually reinforcing this ideal end result of high-level well-being and what it's going to be like as you're living there, so that your body, your neurophysiology can persistently endeavor to flow in the direction of that ideal end result. Now, there's, again, another significant component to this, because what we're interested in doing is feeling gratitude in advance. Now, this is a spiritual concept in the same way that path of least resistance is a spiritual concept. In the Christian Bible, it's talked about how do the lilies of the field toil. They don't. They're always given everything that is needed for their fullest expression of goodness and beauty. Well, the same thing is the idea of gratefulness, gratitude. Is that when we are grateful in advance for those things that we are calling to us, knowing that this is the ideal end result I will be experiencing. And as we go in our mind and imagine ourselves fully embodied in that future situation, feeling the gratitude that we've manifested this, that all the elements of the universe have come together in order to make this possible, we feel that gratefulness. And as you carry that feeling of gratitude with you, what that does is it creates an expansiveness. It creates a flow of your energy on an ongoing basis, day by day. With each next step that you take, instead of saying, oh, I'm still so far away, instead you're saying, wow, look at the progress I just made. Every concrete indicator of success is a reinforcement of what it is you're choosing to do. That's where persistence comes from. Determination, persistence, and this gratefulness that I was able to make this step, and this step, and this step. And a journey of 100 miles, right, becomes possible with the very next step that you take. So every day is an opportunity to step in the direction of that which you truly desire. And as you do, you become more skilled at taking those steps. You become stronger, more able, etc. And I have some grandchildren, and when they come over, I pick them up and I carry them around. Wow, I'm not used to picking up a grandchild and carrying them around. When I had my own kids, pretty easy, pick them up. I get strong as I go. Every day I'm a little bit stronger. As they grow, I grow in my strength to carry them. It all works. But when suddenly it all comes and I have to pick them up and hold them for 3 or 4 hours while they're napping on my shoulder, right? Oh, the next day I can really feel it. So the idea is, let's build our strength along with our intentionality, cultivating that desire power that continues to motivate our progress in the direction of the high level of well-being that we desire. Now, I do want to say that there is one other thing that happens during this paraliminal. You wouldn't notice it most of the time because, hey, let's be honest. Most of the time when you listen to a paraliminal, all you hear is, this is Paul Scheele, and then it's until I bring you out, right? So the idea here is, while the two voices are happening during the change work, there is a third voice in the middle, which is affirming a set of positive statements about who you are, what it is you're choosing, and how you're making progress in the direction of your goal. And so it kind of reinforces the idea that you don't have to pay attention to this at a conscious level. If your mind wanders off, that was an invitation that was given to you in track 2. You can let your mind wander as you learn more deeply. Remember, I'm speaking to the non-conscious mind, that part of you which has access to all the resources that are within you. You're making contact with that resourcefulness. And so I'm speaking to that part of you which is in charge of bringing those forward, bypassing the limitations of your conscious mind and engaging your whole person to get you where you're choosing to go. Now, I started out this session by talking about this quadrant model. And if you've taken the paraliminal retreat, or if you can join me in a paraliminal retreat someday, I'm going to be talking about that basic model, that there's actually a movement. There's 4 movements that take place as we go through our day. There is the start of the day, there is the accomplishment of what we desire, there is the recharging and refreshing. There is a reinforcement of all that we have, preparing us to start for the next day. And that flow is always spiraling us upward toward the higher level of achievement or the greater purpose for which our life is intended. And I'm very big on that. Your life is intended to contribute your gifts and talents to humanity, to this planet, in this time in human history. So use paraliminal technology to live big today, live with an open heart, filled with gratitude, realizing that wherever you set your intention, your energy is going to flow there. And have a wonderful one today. And I hope you can join me in the very next session. Thanks very much for being a part of this.